All right, welcome, man. Welcome to the PDX Business Podcast, PDX Biz Talk. You know me by now. My name is Zeke Jones. Got my boy Johnny Hernandez with me.
Yep, another day doing a podcast.
Yeah, man, we've been staying busy. Like it's been a weekly thing, and you know the guests just keep on rolling because you know we've been trying to touch the community, people who are really doing things, moving and shaking. And I think I might have got that line from today's guest, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but speaking of today's guest, we have an absolute legend in the house tonight, man. I don't want to delay it any further. You know, our guest today is a hip-hop, mogul. He's a hip-hop leader, you know what I'm saying? He paved the way for a lot of us, including myself, as well as he's a hip-hop entrepreneur. Man, there's a whole lot that he's been getting into. So we're going to tap into that. But without further ado, introducing Cool Nutz.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
Of course, man. It's our pleasure for real because I think this is probably the first time that I've been interviewing you because you had a lot going on with the radio hosting situation as well.
Yeah.
But for our viewers, just kind of give a brief introduction to what you kind of do.
Cool Nutz, of course, started out first as an artist, record label owner, which evolved into event production, a proponent for Northwest artists and Portland artists to create avenues to support getting them on stages, on the radio, and so many other things. Artist management, tour management, consulting, and
pretty much a lot of things you've been doing.
Yeah, some of everything, man. Some of everything.
So before you did everything you do now, from the Just Family, from all that stuff that you do now, managing, multiple companies and like a lot of things you're gonna tell about. What made you start that in the beginning? Like, was it just music? Like, were you just artists right away? Like high school days, were you like a music artist, or what made you go into the kind of industry?
Really, it was the culture, man.
Gotcha.
Because at that point, we were living the culture. Mm-hmm. We're living hip hop. Like, so, you get up, you listening to music, you waiting for the new songs to come out. Mm-hmm. You listening to the radio. Like, it's not like it is now where you can just turn on your phone and hear everything.
Yeah.
Or go to YouTube and watch everything. And you literally had to wait for the new Snoop Dogg video to come on and tape it.
Yep.
So it was like, there was always that anticipation, that excitement. And so all of that was around the culture. And then, of course, we started out with like breakdancing, and then that evolved into, people started rapping and MCing, which essentially sparked my flame to want to rap, because I feel like it's in you. You got to have it in you. Have the ability and the talent. But one of the main things that really sparked me into even taking rapping serious was I heard Run DMC Rock Box, and it was the first song that I heard that wasn't kind of corny, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was the first song that was hard. And so me and Bosco was always producing. So we were kind of like, almost like, I would say like Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, or Snoop and Dre.
Right. So how far did you and Bosco actually go back?
Man, we go back to the first grade.
No way.
That's my brother. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, not only just in music, but friendship, but in family. Mm-hmm. We went to the same elementary school, middle school, high school. When he moved to LA to go to USC, I started going to LA. And that also, those were the things that made the evolution into like creating Just Family Records, was being around the industry, starting rapping here. Recording songs, putting together some tapes, like even like freestyling, rap battling in the high school halls, talent shows, but then figuring out that, like, is it going to be a hobby or is it going to be a job? And we had to turn that corner of taking it from a hobby to essentially like a job,
Yeah, absolutely. So taking it serious. So what exactly, can you remember that exact point in your career where you were like, okay, the music has been a passion, and then you had to tip it over like, okay, let's make this profitable?
Yeah. The crazy thing, it wasn't even about being profitable as so much as it was releasing music and putting it together in a serious way. And so we didn't sit and talk like, oh, we're going to make money.
Yeah.
We sat and talked about, is this a hobby, or are we going to take it serious? And meaning, are we going to put it out to the world? Are we going to record it and manufacture it? Because we were already recording music, and I had tapes and stuff that we would listen to, but me and him had to have a conversation about, are we gonna take this thing serious? Are we gonna make it commercially available to people, put it in the record stores?
How did you end up doing that though? Like, did you end up putting more money into it? Did you end up getting like some kind of like partnership with somebody to distribute the music, or how did you take it more serious?
We basically put our own money and energy into it. Like Bosco was always producing, always had equipment. Early on, like when we were in high school, they were like a year older than me. So when we were in high school, if they were a senior, I was a junior. So they were like, and when we were coming up, there was a bigger gap between seniors and juniors. Like they were a little older. They seemed more like grown men. So those were like my big bros, like Bosco, Jumbo from the Lifesavers. Rest in peace, David Calamafoni, Big Red, JB. So all of them, they were like my big bros. So I would be in the studio watching them rap. And I'd be in the little bro, like, oh yeah, he rap, I rap too. And they're like, oh yeah, whatever. And so it was one of those things where, Bosco always had equipment, he was always producing. But then as we got older, people start taking different turns in life. And some people stopped rapping. I think Jumbo had moved, and then it kind of put me in a position where then I could kind of become like the focused artist. And I was serious. So Bosco saw I was serious. He's making beats and recording, so it was like we always had equipment around, and so that was the turn in terms of being able to produce more music,
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you think was like the biggest proponent for yourself? Like, was it consistency, or was it just overall passion for it that really made you stand out as an artist, or was it just you were one of the first, or you just went the hardest?
No, I think it was all of those elements. It was passion and hunger, love for the culture, consistency. Once you understand that people actually want to hear your music, that's the biggest thing, bro. Like everybody can make music, but once you turn that corner and you see people actually want to listen to it, that they'll buy it. You know what I mean? That, I think those are the intangibles. Everybody can rap. Everybody can. That's like just with Master P. Master P wasn't the best rapper, but people listened to it. They bought it. They digested it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not about, those are things you can't, the chemistry, the imaging, the aesthetic of it all, those are things you can't pay for.
So there's an X factor, like an it factor, that sometimes nobody can control, and that's something that the audiences will gravitate to, right?
It's a lightning strike, bro. Everybody don't get the lightning strike. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Like even for me, like things lined up for me to be who I am, even in Portland. Like everybody, I'm not the only one to put out albums from Portland. I'm not the only one to come from Northeast Portland. I'm not the only one to be in the studio. But there are certain things that were timing. It could be Godspeed. It could be anything that puts me in a position to take it to another level. Right time, right place. But then there's other intangibles, like there's Cool Nutz and then there's Jay-Z.
Yeah.
So there's different lightning strikes. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
There's levels to it. So, but you got to understand like what your position is. Like I've always understood what my position is, or the blessings of that position. You feel me? So
that makes sense. And I think Portland is a lot different environment than New York City would be. But there's probably a lot of people who would view you as like a Jay-Z for the town.
Yeah, and I because I always want to be like, well, but I set that standard. But in terms of like coming out with albums with real artwork, coming out with albums that have features on them, coming out with albums that when you put them on the shelf, they can sit next to a Snoop Dogg album, or even sound quality wise, you know what I mean? Or the push, you get up and come out the house and you see the Cool Nutz posters, and then or you got songs like What I'm About that like take a life of their own, or 76 Nova. Like when I like those songs are real deal. When I made 76 Nova, or even What I'm About, that's what we was living. You know what I'm saying? Like 76 Nova is an actual car I owned that actually, when I say you had bullet holes in the door and you know what I mean? Like those are real songs that I'm in the studio and I'm like, I'm making a beat. Dun-dun-dun. I'm like, okay, oh wait. And then boom, that song comes into my head, 76 Nova.
Yep.
And I make the song, and it takes a life of its own. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't you can't buy that. Like even to this day, people will be like, "Oh man, what I'm about 76." No, Portland life. Like
yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
Because I think that's something about hit records too, is that you can't predict if something's gonna be a hit.
Yeah.
It's just like you said, that lightning gonna strike when it's supposed to strike. And I think that it's sort of hard to try to recreate a hit sometimes, right? But like you can always just be genuine to yourself as an artist and create the next movement, the next moment that's gonna really matter. But that leads me to ask you, like, what do you think were some of the things that went through your mind, or some of the steps that you took that took you from just a local artist, not that you were just a local artist, but like from being a local artist to, being branching out and getting bigger on a higher scale?
It was like I said, man, the one determining factor, like there's moments in this when you understand like it's bigger than just recording in your basement or recording with the homies, is I went to Seattle one time with some of my first music, and Seattle and Portland kind of always had this little kind of competition or thing, like you know what I mean? Yeah, this whole Northwest thing, whether it's basketball, music, whatever, even somewhat in the streets, or different things like that, where it's like, oh, Portland is, are you from Portland? Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
So I took some music up to Seattle to Lil Record Mart. And it was one of the hood stores, like, like House of Sounds, like One Stop, like any of those stores.
Yeah.
And I go in there and I tell the dude, I said, yeah, man, this is my music. And he was like, well, where you from? I'm like, man, I'm from Portland. He said, oh, they not gonna buy that up here. I said, look, bro, I'll give you these tapes. I'll give you 10 tapes. I gave him 5 or 10 tapes. I said, I'll give you these tapes. I said, if you put them on the shelf or you play it and they don't sell, throw them away, whatever. If they sell, call me back and I'll bring more up here. And a week later, he called. He was like, man, I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? They want more music. You know what I'm saying? And I brought him more music. And then in Seattle, the music starts selling. Then we're venturing out to Eugene. Then we're going to Bend. We're going to the Music Land in Medford. So now the music is taking a life of its own, whereas it's having demand in Spokane. Now I'm getting calls to go to Spokane.
Right.
I'm getting calls to go to Walla Walla.
And you weren't signed at this point.
Nah, this is all independent.
This is all independent.
Yeah. So it's like those are the things that like tell you like, okay, now it's serious. Like, or when you go somewhere and you first time you go to Lloyd Center and somebody's like, that's Cool Nutz. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And people are literally treating you like they know you. Or you walking through the mall and, every store you go in, somebody's like, man, that's Cool Nutz. Oh, that's Cool Nutz. Then like it's beyond. It's now it's above.
Yeah, you have an impact.
Yeah, now you're having an impact. You feel me? So those are the things that really, really set it apart from everything else.
That's awesome.
And how old were you when you first started doing music and like you took that full time and like that was able to pay your bills, focus on the 100%? How old were you?
Man, I was working. I was dibbling and dabbling in having a job and in the streets. You feel me? Yeah. And I hurt my back on the job. And I was off the job for probably like 2 weeks, and then I just went full time into hustling.
Yeah.
And then when I went full time into hustling was also I'm full time in the hustling, I'm full time in the music. But then with the hustling in the streets, the streets are unforgiving. So you have your head butts and your road bumps, your obstacles, and I had eye-opening experiences in the streets where it was like, yo, the streets can end a certain way with either jail or death.
Yeah,
I got this music thing going, and it's actually working. It's going. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And so at that point, the music is going well enough to transition out of the streets and also transition out of things that could, put your freedom and your life in jeopardy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's when probably I was like 23 or something, mm-hmm. and made that real full blown leap into music. Right.
Was there anything from the streets that you took that maybe is something that you felt like how you felt about how you were moving that influenced the hustle and the music?
Yeah, most definitely, bro. Because you know, like when they talk about trapping, you can apply trapping to everything. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you selling T-shirts, it's the same thing as selling work. If you selling work, you out selling something. You essentially are a businessman. To what degree you handle your business. Now, everybody's different, even in the streets. You got street level, you know, curb servers. Then you have, you know what I'm saying? You got next level, and then you have bosses and tycoons. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And if you carrying yourself in a certain way, you have to still have business acumen to your hustle. You know, whether that's making sure you have, like, for instance, like, some people don't understand, like, even hustling and having a legitimate job. So you got something to fall back on because, again, the streets don't always love you.
Yeah, it can lead anywhere.
Yeah, man, the streets is unforgiving, and even to this day, I see that with some of my guys and how many guys close friends and family members that I've lost. So, but the streets teach you a certain amount of fortitude, a certain amount of even loyalty and commitment, determination, and even fearlessness. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Like to have the ability to really get out and go hard, or times when you have to be amongst the, as they say, the lions and the tigers and the wolves and the bears. You know, you have to have a certain amount of character. You feel me? And so that applies to also going into the rooms and in music meetings, getting out there and standing behind your music, like, you know, like going to a car show and going up to people selling your CDs and really treating it, like I said, treating it like you on the corner hustling. So that definitely was applicable to like, I feel like in my music there's a lot of references to hustling or selling work, but it's swapping it out with music. You feel me? Like where it's a comparison, you know, to you can sell the music the same way as the work, or we trapping with this music, and the music is the work. You feel me?
That's a good point. That's exactly how it felt when I had a big old stack of pre-sales. I was getting them off like there was work on the block. You feel me?
Oh, that's what you gotta have heart and stand on it. You gotta stand, like, cause you might walk up to somebody and they like, you might have to fight over your music. You feel me?
That's true.
You might have to really get down and defend your music. Like, the most problems I've had in my life have been because of music, not the streets. You feel like, because it's such a weird thing of people's. It's more ego. There's more, you know, cutthroatness, jealousy. You know, why he got this opportunity that I didn't get. So you definitely apply that to, you know, because even whether in the music business, you can still be a sucker in the music business, just like you can be a sucker in the streets.
That's a fact. Same thing, I was curious about, like, because with the rap, like, of course it goes from, okay, you selling a lot of music, there's got to be a point where, okay, we realizing that, okay, these markets, they feeling the music. So how do you transition from, okay, we getting the music in their hands and the cassette tapes and the CD players, to stepping on the stages and moving the tickets in front of them?
Man, that was an organic thing, in that, like I said, like, once the music got to a certain point where it was mushrooming, you start getting calls. Like, you know, nowadays social media.
Might be a DM now.
Yeah, it was a you had a pager number or a voicemail on the back of your CD. Yeah. And somebody went and looked at that and said, oh, you get you call and like, yo, what's up? Oh, this such and such, man, we want to book you in Yakima. You know what I'm saying? Or or another rapper, like my bro DOG in Tacoma. Like, DOG reached out to me to do a song, and we went up to Tacoma and did a song. Once we did the song with DOG, we got close. And then, you know, that's another one of my bros, and we started doing more stuff together, more shows, more, you know, being on the road more. But those calls started coming from other places organically. Yeah, so it was one of those things where like those were the things that showed you, like, damn, man, we in Warm Springs at the Indian Reservation doing shows, you know, and we out there for 3 days at the resort, hotel rooms. Then you getting calls in Bend. Damn, we in Bend doing a show. Now we're in Spokane or Pullman, Washington, or you know what I'm saying, Missoula, Montana. Yeah, and another thing is, once you hit one market, so say you go to Yakima or Walla Walla, then the next city over is Kennewick or Richland or whatever. Then okay, boom, we already out here. Let's go holler at the manager of Sam Goody at the mall in Tri-Cities and put our CDs in there, or find out what we got to do to get it in there. Now you plant more seeds. Now people going in there, they call you, oh, we sold out that, those 30 CDs you left, we sold out of those.
Wow, that's actually pretty interesting, because I know personally a ton of artists who feel maybe it's too much pride or they too shy to actually go out there and talk to people and push their music out. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's something that y'all had to have. We all had to have it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, because I think today's with today's social media stuff is promotion is a little bit more laid back. We ain't got to be in your face. You ain't got to be in the streets with it too. I mean, you still should, but it has transitioned a lot. Do you think it was better back then, or you think it's better now, or is there anything that you would take from both that you favor?
There are elements of both that the access to the world is now much more easier. The access of streaming, being able to see like people are playing your music in Croatia.
And the analytics.
And the analytics.
You can see everything,
Yeah, that part of it. But I would take parts of the traditional music market where the record stores, like those were hubs, and we don't have those in each cities. Like you used to be able to go to Bozeman, Montana,
right?
And there's a record store, 2 or 3 record stores in Bozeman, and you hit that city, you drop off your posters or CD with the manager. They put your posters up. Then now you got fans hitting you up, or the store ordered CDs. Those are all things that, from the organic standpoint of even clubs, like there's a lot less clubs now that you can go to some of these cities and as an independent artist, like play a show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's so true, man. I desperately miss physical music and just the overall value of what the general mass is seeing for an MP3. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like nowadays the streaming thing it's less about the value of the actual song, but more about the value of what you can do with the amount of people who heard the song.
Exactly.
So once they start hearing it, you can tap into those markets, get on stage, and you really touch the people. Because I think it's still just as important to get in front of people, to be in person with music, because that's where you really make the connection.
Oh yeah, that's just like, last night my daughter went to SZA and she came home with like 4 merch pieces, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, but she wouldn't have been able to get that had she not went to the show.
Yeah.
Or going to the Kendrick Lamar show. I was on the road and Kendrick happened to be in Seattle, going to the Kendrick show and, getting a t-shirt for myself and a hat for my son and bringing that back. And he's like, oh, Dad got me Kendrick hat. And those things connect to the artist.
They last longer after you press stop on the record.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like there are times like, man, being in like Boise, Idaho, and you in a club like this size and it's packed, but they all there for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we here for Cool Nutz, and knowing like going to, like I said, being in Tri-Cities, man, and having my song on the radio, and the radio would do a club night. They would do like this Thursday night club night, and they bring us out to push the single, and there's 600 people there. Man. And they know the song from the radio. And I feel like those connections aren't there anymore, to be able, as an independent artist, to wake up and say, you know what, I'm gonna hit the road. And when I hit the road, if I go hit these 10 cities, I can cultivate a fan base, especially if I have the music and the marketing tools to go along with it. That part is missing. But the ability to, like you said, have the analytics to see your market. Because I know artists that are able to say, and these are independent artists that are able to say, my top Spotify markets are Seattle, Portland, Oakland, Chicago, Minneapolis, or whatever, and then go plan shows. Like, I'm gonna do Portland and Seattle this weekend. I'm gonna go do Oakland and Sacramento this weekend. Then this next weekend I'll go do Minneapolis and Chicago, and have 300, 400 people in the building, all based off of your data.
Yeah, so back in like maybe like 20 years ago, how did we even track that, or was it any kind of like representation until you got on stage?
I think the only way that you tracked it is say you had a distributor or by record sales, which was SoundScan.
Yeah, SoundScan.
So you would go on SoundScan and you would see your SoundScan.
See what areas are selling more.
Yeah, so like my top market is Memphis. In Memphis, I'm hitting hard. In Houston, in these markets. So now I'm gonna get on the road and go hit these markets. Because that was the thing, even for me. If I check my SoundScan, my key markets are gonna be, the Montanas, Washington, Oregon, Northern California, Utah, Nevada, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, and then there's gonna be little pockets like Kansas City and stuff like that. But then you have stuff like when people go from Portland to New York, and I would see like Tower Records, or I'd be like, man, I go look at my SoundScan and you have 12 records sold in New York last week, and you're like, well, man, how did I sold 12 records in New York? But somebody from Portland moved out there to go to college, and they turned somebody on, and cats actually
and it starts spreading.
Yeah, man,
it's like a disease.
It's viral.
Exactly.
It's viral. And
then having somebody come back and say, you run into them like they back for the summer, like, man, I forgot to tell you, man, I turned on my college to your music. And you're like, man, I saw the numbers. You ain't lying.
That's crazy. So that's just a whole like, I mean, honestly, you could probably relate a lot of that to networking. Would you say? Because I know that you know a lot of different people in the industry. You built really great relationships with people. Like Maniac Low. Y'all been working for a hot minute. Of course, a lot of people know that you work really closely and know E-40 pretty well. How do some of these relationships build?
Man, the E-40, I mean, Maniac, that's another one. Like, Maniac is like, that's another one that's family. That's my bro. We from the community, from the same neighborhoods. And that's just my bro. We grew up together. And also, I was a fan of his. Like, when he first started putting out his music, Maniac is another one, groundbreaking artist for Portland that carved out a lane of like the street music for Portland.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So got to give him his flowers. And I had, fortunate enough that we came together and started working together in a real close capacity. And that's not just, that's why I call it just family, because everybody that we work with, whether it was Maniac, whether it was G-ism, whether it's Bosco, Kenny Mac, DJ Wicked, everybody was just like DJ Fat Boy. Yeah. Everybody's just like family. So
it was already like this. Just everybody off the string.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't, bro. Honestly, like, I don't work with people if I can't call you and say, hey, what's up, bro? You're like, oh, what's up, bro? Hey, what you doing? Nothing. Man, let's go get some food. Oh yeah, let's go. And we go kick it even outside of music. Yeah, like that's how everybody I've worked with. That's how we are and have been. Like, we're not gonna be me and Fat Boy. We're gonna go bowling. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna. But those are all things like. But with E-40, it's crazy because the first time I heard 40, his flow is so different. I was like, man, that's peculiar. It's different. His flow is different. And then I heard some more stuff and I was like, oh, this is dope. This is this is dope. And so I was a fan of 40. And then being a fan up here, 40's huge up here.
Oh, of course.
But then Bosco and them is in LA. So I would go to LA and I would turn cats on in LA to 40. Because they weren't LA was like, it's like you had the Bay and it went down to like Fresno and all of that. But then once you got to LA, they weren't into like the hard Bay, like SIBO and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
So I started going to LA and I'm turning people on, and then Bosco's out there. And at the time we had got a record deal. When we got our record deal, our manager, he knew I was a huge E-40 fan. So like he was like, man, I got something for you. And I'm like, what's that? He gave me a tape. And it was In a Major Way, the advanced copy, like 6 months before it was coming out. This is like when the record labels would send out the album months in advance to get it in the stores,
so they could drop it on time.
Yeah. And so he gave me an advanced copy, so I'm listening to the album like 6 months before it came out. Then the album comes out, I buy the album, but then through the course of the album being out, that album has Sprinkle Me on it and Bosco hits me and he's like, man, Jive wants me to do the Sprinkle Me remix.
Man.
And he wasn't, and at the time he wasn't a big E-40 fan because again he's in LA. So I'm like, he's like, what direction should I go? I'm like, bro, you got to mob it out. You got to do this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
So he did the Sprinkle Me remix, and then if you look at the back of the 12-inch, it says additional game sprinkled by Cool Nutz. Yeah, because I gave him some game.
I like that.
And but then so we ended up from Bosco doing that 40 like what Bosco was doing, and then we started going. He started first going to 40's house. So one of the times he's going to 40's house, he's like, "Man, bro, I'm going to 40 house. You want to come?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So we go up to his house. He had the studio up there and everything. And I get there and I'm like, man, I'm like sitting there like, 40 comes. He's like, "Look, if I invite you over, because he don't let everybody come over. If he lets you come over, it's because he really rock with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he comes to me, he's like, "Look, you at my house, treat it like your house.
Yeah.
If you want to get something out the fridge, go get it. Don't be worried about, because I was, I'm like being shy, not just
being respectful.
Hey, man, can I use the bathroom? He's like, if you gotta go to the bathroom, it's down there. You want to get something to drink or eat, the kitchen's down there.
Yeah.
But then
in 40's voice.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But then from there, we just got cool. Like we brought 40 in the click for a show up here, and then he started kind of seeing how I do stuff, and I started booking him for more shows, and we just became friends. Like, you know what I'm saying? So outside of the music stuff, we just became friends. So it was the evolution of like being a fan, being able to kind of work with him, then having access to like now we got a personal relationship to tour managing, having them go to Dubai, going to Europe, all of these things that like he gave me access to be able to handle. Like if I called him and said, "Hey man, I got an opportunity for you to go to Dubai and do a show. Cool Nutz, work it out." Because he trusts me, you know what I'm saying?
Amazing.
Hey, I got this show over in Amsterdam. I'll work it out. Work out the travel, get the money, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's one of those things where I've always I just was doing things that he saw were also a resource to him, and he gave me access to be able to utilize his platform to progress even things that I'm doing. So that's how that relationship, came about, and it's been a real genuine, he's just been accepting, man, and been a good friend, and gave me a lot of access, a lot of support, and songs and verses and everything.
Just love.
Yeah, allowing me access to when I was in the studio when he did Ghetto Report Card. We was in Atlanta for a week, watching. I saw Tell Me When to Go and Snap Your Fingers, and You and That
records,
all
bro.
that, being in there with where I'm sitting here with Lil Jon.
Yeah.
And then when the album comes out, invite me to the release listening party in New York at Electric Lady Studios. Then that night, he wasn't tripping on going out. So Lil Jon is like, "Bosco, what you and Cool Nutz doing?"
Go working.
Man, no, we go out to the club.
out.
Me, Lil Jon, Bosco, and his security. It's just us,
That's tight.
So it's like, those are all things that came from 40, like showing me love, bro.
Yeah, it sounds like one thing led to another, man.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a good segue to kind of talk about some of the business opportunities that you kind of stemmed into or transitioned into with the music. So you said that you were working with concert promotions and booking shows. Was that under Just Family or something else?
Yeah, it was. I mean, everything pretty much sparked from Just Family, and then and the only thing, like, there's always Just Family, but then I started Executive Branch Management, which was just kind of straightforward, just management, because Just Family was like Just Family Records.
Right.
So I just didn't want people to confuse it like this is a record label.
signed.
You know what I'm saying? This is a record label, but Executive Branch Management is all the administrative things, business stuff like consulting, tour routing, tour booking, tour management, and all of those things that go behind the music business that weren't just record label things.
And do you offer those services to artists that are signed to you, or even independent artists that want to come to you and say, "Hey, I need those services from you"?
Yeah, like
It didn't really sign
mainly
to you.
it started with artists that I work with, but then it branched out to artists that that weren't signing me.
But you still offer those services
But
to
I
them.
still offered those services, yeah. I mean, like, because essentially stuff I would do for 40 would essentially be through executive branch, or
You keep doing it.
yeah, or stuff I did like booking tours for Burner, tour managing for Slum Village and Pete Rock and Devin the Dude, all different types of stuff, man. Work with with Mr. Fab, Krayshawn, all types of stuff was essentially like realistically, like when Krayshawn, we were in Montana, matter of fact, with Mr. Fab and Krayshawn's manager, my guy, well, he's Fab's manager too at the time, Stretch. We were in the car riding, and he's like, we were talking about V Nasty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, is V Nasty really like? He's like, oh yeah, V Nasty really from Oakland, real deal, hood, because everybody trip about her saying the N word.
Right. I remember this.
You know what I'm saying? And so we in the car and we talking about it. And we just riding, like, yeah, man, be nasty and do it. And he's like, oh yeah, wait till you hear her sister. And I'm like, who's that? He's like, Krayshawn. And I'm like, oh, word? I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And then one day I'm at the house and I'm watching, I forget what I was, either YouTube or something.
Yeah.
And I see the Gucci video. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's the girl he was talking about, Krayshawn.
Yeah.
And then like, it might have been like a week later, 2 weeks later, he calls like, hey, bro, you want to tour manage for Krayshawn?
That's wild.
And I'm like, all right.
Yo, we was just at the bar the other day, and there was this girl in there singing karaoke. She was singing Krayshawn, Gucci. Wow, very horribly, I might add, but but it was still amazing to see, because I remember all that whole little time period when Krayshawn had punched through the gates.
Yeah. And that was an interesting thing though, because from my work with Stretch and Fab. Same thing with 40. They saw how I handle stuff and stuff that I would do, and so when the opportunity presented itself, he thought of me. Hey, you want to tour manage for Krayshawn? And I'm like, yeah, cool. And we went all around the world with that with that song.
Yeah.
That song did a lot for her.
Yeah.
But we saw the world because of that song, and then also. Reverting back to V Nasty and even her, she caught a lot of flack. They caught a lot of flack because of the stuff with V Nasty or whatever. But people didn't, a lot of times people didn't understand really who they were and where they came from. They just see the image of the white girl mob.
Yeah. So touching back on the whole being independent nowadays and using social media as your advantage, there's a lot of artists out there that are only they don't want to be signed no more, nowadays. Yeah. So nowadays people are using a lot of social media, and like for example, one big artist right now that's making a lot of noise on social media is Lil Russell. Yeah. And you both know Taupe, which is he's part of his camp. Yeah. So what's your opinion and like your view of him using the way he does? Because he's very heavily on social media every day, posting. So what do you think his the way he's doing things?
Even the Lil Russell thing is a crazy thing because Taupe is like my little bro.
Yeah, of course.
And Taupe hit me we was just talking one day, and he's like, man, I started, I ran into this dude. I think we're gonna start working together. And I'm like, who? He's like, oh, this dude, Lil Russell. He's like, man, I think he got it. And I'm like, word? He's like, yeah. He's like, I think there's something special about him. And I'm like, word? And I'm like, oh, okay. And so then, I kind of start paying a little more attention. Then and Taupe starts sending me songs. Then they put out the projects. And then I start really watching how he's doing his thing. And I feel like with him, he is the kind of the epitome of when you talk about consistency and relentlessness, and then also combining that with with good messaging and good aesthetics and presence behind the music. Like his thing is a whole body of work. It's not just the rapping. It's not just the music. It's a whole package, a whole experience. Like it's funny because they were in Houston today.
Yeah. And
they performed at my boy's club. And I called him and I was just like checking in. I was like, man, how'd everything go? And he's like, man, dude, it's like he was blown away. He's like, man, dude, it's crazy. It's like he's something else. He's like, yeah, he was like,
and the fans really be rocking.
Oh yeah.
Well, because he's the thing is nowadays, like you were saying about social media, the important part about social media is giving people interesting and valuable content, things that set you apart from somebody else. You know, you got people that want to do shock jock stuff. You got people that create genuine and endearing content. And you have people that just do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the Island Boys or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And but at the same time, they found a way to monetize it and they might be making millions of dollars off that stuff.
Yep.
But LaRussell is genuine and organic and has brought all those things together with also a message of like independence, business acumen, ownership.
Yeah.
You know,
it's empowering to a lot of people, especially for independent artists who, you know, may not know about these different things that, you know, behind the scenes in the record industry and the opportunities and possibilities of actually owning your own thing, showing them that it's possible. I mean, you know, there's a new generation that might not have seen it as many times, but he's making it so real, and he's using the reels as well. You know,
he's smart with that. Especially the whole when he said when he did the whole thing with pay whatever you want.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's dope because that shows exactly people will pay a lot of money than just a set number. If you say pay whatever you want, people might afford. You know, maybe they can do just $5, $10. Some people might spend. I saw that somebody spent like $1,000 on him just for one thing. It's crazy. I was like, okay, because that's true support right there. That way you know you're real fans as well, which is dope as strategy.
Plus, it gives another value back to the actual music too, versus just, you know, making money in your merch sales and your concerts and things like that. And, you know, brand deals, it brings another circulation back to, you know, selling more music too.
And I mean, there's a certain level of like relentlessness to also, like if you go on your feed, like he's gonna be one of the first people to pop up in your feed, and it'll be something from 39 minutes ago. Then you go to the next one, something from 2 hours ago, something from 6 hours ago.
You can't get away. It's 10 hours ago.
Yeah,
you ain't getting away from him.
And he's even and he's even like repurposing. Like he might repurpose a clip that you saw a year ago,
he recycled it,
and bring it back with new captions or used it a different way. And I think like a lot of artists could learn from that. Like, because I feel like I could be more productive on social media, but for me, it's hard for me to. I feel like a lot of times I'm living in real life. You know what I'm saying? Versus like, let me create this content.
Bro, yeah. That's a full-time job.
Yeah. Being successful on social media, like even when you talk about in reference to LaRussell, the amount of work it takes to create the amount of content he's putting out is a job in and of itself.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't have, for one, the skill level. They don't have the time. And also it takes, you know, financial resources to keep creating, to have, you know, he got somebody following him around with a camera.
The team,
you need a team. Like if you watch even artists bigger than him, like you see artists that are like everywhere they go, they got a camera on them. They got a cameraman. Some artists got 2 cameras, and just like that was the ingenious thing with that Kanye documentary.
Oh yeah,
is that Kanye is one of the few artists that captured
from way back then
the struggle, and not just way back then, the struggle that a lot of people don't see. Because I've been there before, bro. When you walk in a room at a label,
I remember that.
And you around people that you know, they're not hyped about your stuff. They're not excited. You sit in an office and it's 3 people, and one dude is in there trying to pump them up to you. Oh, this is the next, and then they in there like, oh word.
One of them texting,
oh word,
emails,
oh word. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like those are things that a lot of people don't see. You know, people don't see the behind the scenes of that stuff. So having that content is valuable. Like I got a whole lot of stuff that like honestly, like I really gotta get dumped down from VHS-C tapes and High 8 and all of those, because I got some
digitize that.
some legendary classic material that's yet to be seen. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And we got a ton of clips coming your way from this podcast as well, so you can you know, send those whatever you want. And I'm sure you've done a ton of like interviews over the years too. You could probably just, you know, repurpose that and just make little short clips of some lines that you said in there and story moments that you know, bring up those moments again from your past and your future and things like that. You could just put that out there, man. You know?
Yeah, and I'm guilty. I'm guilty of not, you know, because I be having so much going on that I sit and I watch, and I'm like, man, I could be more productive. But the thing is, it takes time.
Yeah.
Like just like for instance, like with this whole thing, like y'all came with 3 cameras, microphones, you had to plug a light and everything. Like that's real dedication. You know, a lot of cats are coming here and just set up the little podcast, road podcast
basic,
master.
We're not basic
You know, with a mic and a table, we'll be over there. Like this is a real setup, and it takes that type of commitment to be successful at stuff.
Especially because we're mobile, you know. Even when we start traveling to those states, we're gonna have to carry all this stuff with us.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
So
Sure.
it's up with the quality. And this guy has the quality right here.
Yeah,
It's all him.
That was man. I think it really started from the music with me. Like I was doing my own music videos for a long time. Me and my mom, we was just tag teaming it and shooting it and editing it, and that just kind of grew into me running the business as well. But yeah, man, I think that when it comes to being creative, especially as musicians, bro, a lot of musicians go on to be like famous actors and entrepreneurs and moguls and things like that, bro. But I think that's just something that's in us creatively.
Oh yeah,
and it just take a lot of hard work. But I swear it's not easy.
No, hell no.
And
But it's worth it, though.
Are you involved in other type of businesses? Like, are you invested in, you know, not just family doing the whole management and music label, but you mentioned Trap Kitchen. Yeah. Are you involved in that? Meaning like an investor wise?
Yeah.
Or partner wise?
I manage Trap Kitchen.
Okay.
So, you know, the catering part, business, admin part.
Gotcha, okay.
You know,
PR too or no?
PR too, yeah.
Damn.
Exploring opportunity part. I'm involved in that, but then we also have Trap Private Reserve, which is the cannabis marketing side.
Right.
Which we're owners, you know, I'm an owner in that.
Is that all cannabis, like flower extracts and all that?
Yeah, flour. We've done flour, edibles. We did flowers, edibles,
oil,
pre-rolls. We haven't done oil yet.
That's mine, dude.
But you know what? We're actually in Washington. We're about to next month launch our pens.
Pens, okay.
Yeah, so that is oil.
Yeah,
so we're about.
So because I saw that you have that on your Instagram account, I clicked on that page, but it says not found. Is there a reason?
Yeah, because you know, they took our page because with all of the like you know the whole
the marijuana
and it's very touchy nowadays. Like if you watch like Burner, you see like cats ain't putting a lot of flour on their page no more. Wow. Like it used to be like you could get on there and show flour and you know check out.
So how can you do that then? How can you promote your?
I mean,
it's a tough one.
It's a tough one, bro, because you can probably try to push the bags, but then I think there's also haters out there, bro, that be reporting you. Yeah, bro, like haters that, just like the music, like cats see you evolve and progress, and they wanna stifle your movement. You know what I'm saying?
Throw some dirt on it.
Yeah, they wanna smut it out, and so or knock off the competition. And you know, hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it's just Instagram, and they're like, you know, this is
the rules and regulations of it.
So we lost that page, but we have, you know, we got backup pages. But yeah, so Trap Kitchen, and we've also used that platform to extend beyond food into music, you know, and the other entertainment ventures. So like Trap Kitchen Weekend or the turkey giveaways or Christmas tree giveaways, gift card giveaways or Feed Our People movements.
That's dope.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's another venture that I'm heavily involved in, and then Trap Private Reserve I'm an owner in that.
And who's the founders and owners of Trap Kitchen?
The founder and the owners is Spank and News. So
Gotcha.
Spank, you know, and if people don't know the story, Spank and News, one is a Crip, one is a Blood. They came together through food, brought their neighborhoods together in Compton.
That's dope.
And through food, it also helped bring a lot of peace to what could be rival neighborhoods. And now they're together. So like if you went out to Compton, you would see Spank, who's a Crip, in Westside Pyru neighborhood with all the Bloods, and he's the only Crip there. You know what I mean? And then vice versa. And then News is over in Park Village with all the Crips. He's the only Blood there, you know. And they accept each other because the food created, you know, that
community.
That community, yeah.
Did it start with the food cart? Or how did it start?
It started out of an apartment.
Wow. They sound
Trap, Trap, like we talking about Trap Kitchen. Like they came with the idea, like, man, instead of us selling drugs, let's do something positive and sell food. So they got on social media and start advertising. You can get plates, and then they just put an address at an apartment, and you come by and get plates. You know what I'm saying?
All of that. Now they're at the Roseland Theater now too, right?
Yeah, we in the Roseland.
Vegas too. Right, Vegas too.
Well, we did a residency.
Oh, okay.
That was they handpicked 5 black-owned restaurants, and we were one of them. So it was Bun B, these 2 twin sisters from Philly, Food Chasers, a black-owned pizza company. They're from like Memphis, and what was the other one? It was Chef JJ. He did his. Oh yeah, and Trap Kitchen. So those were the 5, and everybody got a month-long residency in a partnership with Pepsi. So we did a partnership with Pepsi, and everybody got a month-long residency in Mandalay Bay and Luxor in a restaurant in each of them. So you could come in and they'd be serving our menu for a month.
Is it all of them at the same time or 1 month at a time?
Each one got a month. So Bun B got a month.
Dope.
Food Chasers got a month. The pizza guys got a month. And I forget that, man. I forget their company name.
It's hard.
So do you have like an assistant or something to handle all this stuff for you, or do you do it because you have not just that, you also do radio?
Yeah.
So
it's pretty much just me at times, man. Which that's what I'm saying about sometimes having the time to embark on all the social media stuff and everything else. And sometimes you can get spread thin, but that's where you also sometimes limit
what you can do,
what you're doing. Yeah, you got to focus on your priorities.
Yeah. And then also speaking about the whole radio thing that you do, it's called the Northwest Breakout Show.
Yeah.
How did that start? And obviously you do it for was it still Jammin'?
Yeah, Jammin' 107.5 and iHeartRadio.
Yeah. So how did all that? Yeah, we're here right now.
Yeah.
How did that come about? By you know, was it your idea? Did somebody came and say, "Hey, cool, let's
It was my idea. How it started was I started at, because just like with POHOP, the Portland, Oregon Hip Hop Festival.
Yep.
Big shout out to David Parks. David Parks, when I first started putting out albums, David Parks moved here from out of town, and he's very, very creative and progressive. So he came to me and was like, "Hey man, I want to sit down with you." And we had a meeting, and he was like, "I got an idea where I'm gonna need to use your platform and have you be the face of an idea that I think would benefit the Portland hip hop community," and that was POHOP, the Portland, Oregon Hip Hop Festival. So the whole point was putting Portland artists on the prime stages, which was La Luna, and just featuring all local artists for a festival style show. And from there, I basically learned what I could do for the community from him and how I could be used as a vessel. So from POHOP, that was the beginning of like kind of a Portland hip hop movement. And then from there, I had an idea of since we're putting artists on stages, it would be dope to be able to put them on the radio. So I went to cable, took the radio class, and then I started a radio show at cable called The Family Hours. And I started at
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, bro. It's like I was on it from 2 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. That's why.
And how long was that class, by the way?
How long? The class was like, you have to take a certain amount of classes where they teach you how to run the board. They teach you the rules of radio, like what hours there can be cussing, what hours there can't be. Like emergency broadcast and stuff.
A little bit of media training.
Yeah, and radio etiquette and stuff like that. And so I did that show, and I think I was on for like 2 hours on cable. 2 years on cable. And then moving forward, I had an idea of the Northwest Breakout Show. And the whole point of the Northwest Breakout Show is the Northwest part, of course, is to spotlight Northwest artists.
Right.
The breakout part is for bigger national artists that typically you wouldn't hear on our station. So we're breaking out. So it's Northwest music, but then breakout artists are like, say we're not playing Mozzie or not playing Rick Ross. Now I'm breaking out those records, but then the Northwest artists are represented.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense because when I listen to that, I see major artists on there. I'm like, I wonder why. Now that makes a lot of sense now. Yeah.
Well, because from a programming perspective, that's another thing to show the fans or the listeners that you can hear Young Mill next to Jay-Z. So then you hear local artists next to like bigger artists. So
in the
then
same cycle,
so then but you also understand like, man, this is from Portland, and they he sounds good
Right,
next to
it fit,
Jay-Z.
it fit right in the
Yeah,
little
it fit right
rotation.
in. Or
That's always cool.
You know, or I playing, you know, whoever else next to, you know, Rick Ross, or whoever else next to, you know, a female artist next to Beyonce, or
Right.
next to Rhapsody, or whoever. So that was the whole point of the show. So I took that to CBS Radio. I had a proposal, and they liked it. They were like, "Yo, this is dope. Of course, let's do it." And then they gave me. I started with an hour, moved to 2 hours, and then eventually grew it to 3 hours.
Sunday nights? Was it Sunday nights always?
Sunday nights, yep, always, yep. No, I think I started on Saturday nights.
Okay.
I started on Saturday nights on CBS Radio.
Right.
Then we got bought out by Clear Channel.
Mm-hmm.
Then Clear Channel transitioned to iHeart. Yeah. And then I was off for like damn near 2 years during COVID because we all got furloughed.
Man,
so there was a time
so
when
nobody was up here.
Yeah. There was nobody in the building.
Was there no talk about doing it from home? Because I mean, there's a lot of like.
I can see that's a sore sour spot because I can do my show. I can do my show on the go. Like sometimes, like I'm doing my show, and if I'm in Europe, I'm doing my show in Europe.
I remember, I heard when you were in like a hotel room or something.
Yeah. So I can do the show wherever. I have to come in, of course, to do certain things in the station and put certain stuff together. But I was kind of like collateral damage because of what was going on, and things were in such a crazy place that everybody wasn't in the office. Everybody wasn't, everybody's trying to figure out what they're going to do to keep their jobs.
Yeah.
How the stations are even going to keep on running. Is advertising even happening?
Yeah, that's a big problem for a lot of businesses right now, especially places where they got, overhead, big old offices and nobody in them.
Man,
we start to consider like, okay, maybe.
Yeah, even my wife's company, they have a whole building like that. Even this building, we have 2 whole floors in here, studios and everything. And so imagine nobody being in here. Nobody's using any of this stuff. So it was just a tough time. So I was essentially collateral damage to the COVID, worldwide pandemic, and nobody not knowing what was going to happen.
So talking about the whole music thing with DJ Fatboy, how did you and him get that relationship? Because you guys are really close, like you said earlier.
Yeah, that's my bro, man.
And you also connected him with Krayshawn, right?
Yeah.
Being the DJ for the tour.
Yeah.
So how did you and him both started, getting that relationship, and from there being really, really close?
Yeah.
Man, Fatboy, so I had multiple DJs. There was DJ Wicked, then there was DJ Chill. Chill started going on tour with Tech Nine. And was rapping more, and then and I remember I did one of my birthday parties, and I needed a DJ, so I had Fatboy. I met Fatboy, and I was like, "Yo, would you want to come DJ?" So he DJ'd, and then he started DJing, and he DJ'd. I think like his first his first show that he DJ'd for, his first real show, was Nas in Eugene. Sold out,
man.
Sold out show.
First one?
And he was and that was
nervous, huh?
first, his first show of that caliber DJing for an artist. And so he was nervous, but he held it down.
Yeah.
And we killed it. But then after we did Nas, I had booked 40 for a show in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And I was performing too. And I told Fatboy about it. And I told Fatboy, and I was like, man, because they were flying only a certain number of people over. That's the thing about international stuff.
Yeah.
They only gonna fly a certain amount of people. So I couldn't bring Fatboy. And so Fatboy told his grandma, like, oh yeah, Cool Nutz is going to Amsterdam. And he had asked me, he's like, man, if I get my own way there, am I good? I said, bro, of course.
Yeah. So
this is crazy how family works. So his grandma was like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You started working with Cool Nutz. Cool Nutz now is, putting you around E-40 and Nas. She's like, you need to go, and pay for him to go.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So Fatboy came, and always been willing to sell merch, always been willing to drive, always been willing to just hold it down. You know what I'm saying? And just really been a solid individual and solid person of as a part of the machine.
Absolutely, man. He's real, extremely talented, extremely humble, but extremely funny too. The funniest dude.
Oh, Fat Boy's hilarious.
Y'all got any crazy tour stories at all, bro?
I mean, one of the main, I think the biggest thing that I always say about Fat Boy is the benefit of shut up and listen. Mm-hmm. Like, we had a conversation when he first got on, and I said, bro, listen to me. Anything that I'm trying to do for you or do with you or ask you to do, it's gonna be to your benefit. Mm-hmm. I'm never trying to put you in a position where you getting exploited or I'm using you or nothing. So if I ask you, because you get a lot of people that when you ask them to do the work, man, they got how much I'm getting paid, what's the, Mill, that's one of the things. Me and Mill always got down, because anytime I call Mill or put an opportunity in front of Mill, he got on it.
Let's get it.
Yeah, let's get it. But he knew if Nutz called me, Nutz is offering me an opportunity that's gonna benefit me. I'm not caught. You're not always gonna get paid for everything. You're not always gonna see money for everything we do. I don't. Even with the stuff I've done. But if you understand, doing certain things is gonna open more doors. Yeah. It's gonna put you in different positions, and that's the thing with Fat Boy. Is Fat Boy understood that. So sometimes when I told him, I said, bro, if you just And I said it, bro, if you just sometimes just shut up and listen. Like, because I run into so many times where you try to put the opportunity in front of somebody and they're like, they don't understand the hustle. They don't understand certain stuff is situational. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people got to realize that there's more than just, money's not the only value. You know what I'm saying? So there's a certain situation that you can get a million more opportunities out of one little, you just got to show up.
Bro, there's opportunities. There's opportunities even for me where it might not have been money, but it was a flight, hotels, and it was a great opportunity. Yeah. And people called and said, Nutz, bro, I know, you my bro. I got this going on. I got your flight. I got your hotel, bro. I'm gonna put it up. I know I would love to pay you, but I can't in this situation. Cool, let's go.
As long as everything's flight, hotel.
Come on, bro. It's in the middle, and we comfortable and we having a good time.
You ain't putting yourself in danger or nothing like.
But I know that person, they mean well for me, and that was the thing. Fat Boy, I just told him, I said, man, if you just understand, like when I ask you to do something or I put an opportunity in front of you, just understand. This is to progress you and put you in new places. And Fat Boy operated in that way to where, and he'll tell you like, man, Nutz told me just shut up and listen. Or if I say, bro, do this, just make it happen. He knew like that put Fat, like for instance, when Fat Boy got on with Krayshawn, I started tour manager for Krayshawn. She had a whole different DJ. The DJ couldn't get into Canada. So her manager said, can Fat Boy do the show? Bro, we had a show in Northridge. I flew down to Northridge, did the show. Same day, flew back, had to fly into PDX. Fat Boy's waiting for me in the car. Jump in the car, we drive straight to Canada that night. And that was Fat Boy, but that was his first time working with them. And I told him, I said, bro, if you just go do your thing, show up and work and do what you're supposed to do,
it's gonna pay off.
You might probably get the job because Fat Boy's likable. He's gonna work. Man, we got up there. He did them shows, and Krayshawn liked him and brought him on as the DJ. And again, like I said, we saw the world with Krayshawn. We did 3 weeks in Europe, Japan. You know what I'm saying? Canada, countless U.S. dates. Hawaii, all type of stuff. What Jimmy Kimmel or whatever, the Tonight Show.
That's dope.
But Fat Boy benefited from just being willing to work, just being willing to show up, just being willing to play his part. Which then next thing you know, he's DJing for 40. Next thing he's DJing for Burner. We on tour with all these different people. Too Many Zoos, all type of stuff. But Fat Boy seen a lot because he was just simply willing to play his part.
Absolutely, that's very, very solid advice, bro. And I feel like that's definitely helped me in numerous occasions. Just not feeling like you too big for something, or just think like you got to really consider You don't even got to overthink it to be real.
Yeah.
You just, if there's an opportunity, just go.
But some people do. They sit back and they look at, they was watching some rap video or listening to some lawyer. Not to say you shouldn't listen to a lawyer, but you taking information, but you don't understand the application. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
the circumstance.
Yeah. You eventually might need a lawyer, but not in this situation. You ain't there yet. You ain't there. So when we talking about this, well, oh man, let me bring my manager in, and then he got to talk to my lawyer, and then my financial advisor, and we go. And then by that time, you like, never mind, bro.
Sorry.
Yeah, we
ship that sailed.
This this Ash Street show ain't that big. Yeah. You feel me? Like this Ash Street show.
Right.
This Ash Street show is. This ain't Motor Center with, $1 million in ticket sales.
Absolutely.
The merch did 200,000 and we got to sit down in the back office and crunch numbers and do tax withholding and all that. This ain't that show.
What do you think is some of like the best advice that you received over your career from people that you've met throughout the industry? It could be an experience or something, verbal that they said.
One of the things is I feel like you always treat people how you want to be treated, because you never know where somebody gonna be. You never know who somebody is gonna be down the road. Mm-hmm. You never know, like how we sitting here, bro, like we might be sitting here, one of y'all might end up in a position where I look up, man, y'all playlist curators at Spotify,
right.
You know what I mean? And so it's like when you meet people, treat them with respect no matter where they at, what level they on, who they are. Don't big time cats. Don't treat people like, like big me, little you.
Yeah.
Remain humble and solid, and also have know how to be in a room and know how to really honestly, bro, know how to play your part. Yeah. Like playing your part. Like I'm not. A lot of artists, and not just artists, but people in the music industry, ego is a crazy and dangerous thing, and we all gotta have it. But sometimes you gotta know, like for instance, I'm Cool Nutz. I've done some stuff, but when I'm working for E-40, that's his boat, it's his ship. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When I'm working with Krayshawn, that's her boat. That's her ship. When I'm working with Burner, that's his boat. That's his ship. But I'm on it. I'm on their boat. I'm on their ship. I'm seeing all this stuff being a part of what they doing. And never am I sitting back. Like, bro, I sat on Krayshawn bus. I'm the tour manager. Mm-hmm. So I would get all the press requests. So when GQ comes in, when, all of the biggest PR requests come in, I'm a rapper too. But I'm not looking at it like, man, this should be me.
You
feel me? Like this is hers.
Yeah.
And at the same time, my movements in music also got me here on her boat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And some people don't know how to ride on somebody else's boat. Yeah. Like they want to get on your boat and start steering and blowing the horn.
They want to get on your boat and start weighing it down.
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy.
You know what? But I always call that the Disneyland theory. The Disneyland theory is, say you pull up and you got the Bentley, right? You got the Bentley and you pull up, you like, man, Nutz, man, I got the Bentley, man. I got a pocket full of money.
Yeah.
Man, bro, we finna drive to Disneyland. And I'm like, for real? Like, let's go. You like, bro, I'm paying for everything. It's all good. We finna kick it. We're gonna have a good time.
Right.
But as we driving to Disneyland, I'm in the Bentley, and I'm mad that I'm in your Bentley. so every time we stopping at a gas station, I'm putting sugar in the tank.
Oh man,
you feel me?
Yeah.
I'm dumping sugar in the tank because I'm mad that it's not my Bentley. So by the time we get to to right outside of LA, Bentley done broke down.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying?
They sabotage you.
They sabotage you. All because you can't appreciate your partner pulled up in the Bentley, inviting you into the Bentley, gonna take you on a trip and pay for everything.
Spoil you.
And spoil you. We gonna have a good time, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some of my best times is being on the tour bus with 40 or whoever we on tour with, and we like family, bro, and we ride on the bus, we eating food, we joking around. You know, we had a truck stop, like pulling over, you gotta take a shower at the truck stop. And we joking about, man, we gotta go in here and, is it your turn? Oh yeah, they called your number at the truck stop.
Right, getting all this money, you still gotta be human.
You still gotta be human, or doing laundry on the tour. We in the laundry mat doing laundry in there chilling. But it's the thing of like playing your position, knowing how to play your position, because sometimes simply playing your position, like for instance, like with Burner, I watch his right hand man Stingy.
Right.
When we started going on tour, Stingy is like a trainer, like he was a trainer, and like just Burner's friend. Now Stingy got his own like, pre-rolls, is Stingy OG.
He in the business too.
Yeah, Stingy is doing music. Like Stingy is all because he played his role with Burner of being his partner. You'll see where
probably gave him the alley-oop.
Come on, bro.
Right?
He did. And you see Burner in Thailand opening a store in Amsterdam, and Stingy gonna be right there because all he did is play his part.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like if more people understand that, versus like tearing stuff down or not supporting the movement, or not understanding like we were saying, like this ain't your lightning strike.
Right.
The lightning didn't strike you; it struck this man here, and this man is bringing all these people on with him, and letting you eat. Letting you make money, letting you see the world, letting you be a part of something that is monumental.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And it might not be a lightning strike right now, but that don't mean you ain't gonna get your lightning strike though.
Come on, bro.
And that's what people be forgetting.
You look at people like Neo, like that were songwriters. You behind the biggest artists writing songs, but then next thing you know, boom! Now you the front man.
Exactly. He's writing songs for everybody from Beyonce to just a little bit of everybody.
Look at the Dream. Look at the Dream. Look at Warren G. So it's like a lot of the times if you just shut up and listen, or shut up and play your role, like those things will get you far. And that's one of the things I learned, is that sometimes you just got to know how to be humble, bro, and like stand behind somebody else and support them, help them shine. Like we went to the Bosco played the talk box on the workout plan with Kanye. And
Bosco got credits.
Yeah, he got a lot of credits. Big shout out to my bro. But Kanye had him come do the American Music Awards. And so Bosco brought me, and he let Maniac come. And so we pull up to the thing, and the parking lot, and you have to park in this lot, and you got to walk across and go through security.
Of course.
And so we get out the car, and we go to the back of the car and go to grab the gear. And Bosco was going to go grab his gear, and Maniac is like, "No, you're not touching nothing tonight. I'm carrying this. It's your night to shine."
That's
and I was like, yeah. We're not touching nothing tonight, Bosco. And we grabbed the keyboard cases,
right?
And we let him walk up like,
that's what's up.
We the help tonight because this is your night to shine. And on top of that, I wouldn't have been at the American Music Awards.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I would have been either at the house or here in Portland. But my bro is shining, and my bro is opening that door. So so Maniac is even catching that, like, nah, bro. We gotta let bro look like. So we walk in, we see Outkast and Usher and everybody, and then Bosco walking in. They're like, oh, you Bosco, Talkbox dude. But
his love.
And he's not carrying no gear. He can shake hands and So that's some of the important stuff that I've learned, bro, is to be happy to be in the moment. Be happy to be in the building. Be happy to be on the boat. Be happy to be in the car on the way to Disneyland.
You know what's gonna happen.
Exactly. And it's okay to get out the way a little bit.
Yeah.
You just gotta be the star the whole time.
It's like me and him. I used to always be like behind the camera, doing his music thing. It's always about him. Yeah. And then he finally got me into doing this. Now I have my own YouTube channel for my detail shop, and I do that now. So
and we reversed the roles a couple different times. Like I filmed some videos for his shop.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He helped me with the music stuff. Like
But even so, as long as I can remember, you've always had his back. I've always, you know, like from you being the manager, because me and you done talked a number of times too.
right.
Like when you was getting auto detailing going.
Back in the day.
I'm handling meal stuff, and I always look at you guys as like real inspirational young dudes. Like that's why I always try to help Meal, because I always look at it like this is a good young dude pushing, and he has movement, and you know, I know your family and everything. So it's like we supposed to support that, but then also watching you come and support him, like those are things I admire, because everybody needs that. Everybody needs, like, truth be told, everybody needs that dude that you got the rapper, but then you also got the dude that's always with him that shows
that's not
up.
trying to be the rapper.
Yeah, that's not trying to be, that's not trying to be the rapper.
That too, man.
You know, that's showing up. He whips out his laptop, or you know what I'm saying, or he on his phone, or okay,
answer emails.
Yeah, exactly. What you gonna need him to do? Or like that goes a long way, and I understand that real well. You know what I'm saying?
It's all about your team, and you know what kind of team you can have around you and be successful in that.
Exactly.
Because then you can have the wrong team as well. That can screw you over, not just money wise. You gotta be, you know, like you said, like before, getting that connection, and they keep that connection for themselves instead of, you know, passing it on to you.
Yeah, or you bring them in the room with you, and they doing stuff that's destructive or counterproductive or embarrassing you. Like I've been there, bro. Like people that don't, as they say, people that act like they ain't never been nowhere before. You know what I'm saying? Like you go somewhere, you take them somewhere, they done stole a bottle of alcohol.
Man.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Or
I've seen it.
Yeah, bro.
Seen it,
yeah. You know how it is, man. You take somebody somewhere and they don't know how to act. It's like, that's a bad look.
It makes you look bad too. It's like, why the hell did I bring you here, you know?
Yeah, bro. That's not cool. So, yeah.
So I got a question. So, you know, like, with the industry being where it is right now, where do you see music going from a business standpoint and just from a creative direction? I guess hip hop more specifically.
I feel like, man, creatively, I think music is in a place where it's more creative than ever, because you have a lot of stuff, a lot of people doing a lot of like when you look at like the Tyler the Creators, to the Cordays, to the Griseldas, to and then even to some of the like independent, like, not, and some of them got record deals, but like Baby Tron and
a lot of different sounds.
Yeah, you got so many different sounds. Even like, you know, you have so many different sounds. Sometimes I feel like it's a gift and a curse, because there's so much music and so many kind of subgenres that it dilutes the base of it, where there used to be just good hip hop and bad hip hop, East Coast and West Coast. Then it was East Coast, down south, West Coast, then the Midwest put their bid in. You know, then
it started divvying it out.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different branches now.
But even then, it was just really still always those, like West Coast, South, Midwest, East Coast.
It was easier to track, probably.
It was easier to track, but now, like, you know, there's so much music, there's so much ability to put out music, so many subgenres and little pockets that people are in, that it's more creative than ever. Like the reason I reference Baby Tron, because I would always see his name, and then I finally went and listened. Yeah. And I was listening, I'm like, oh, he can actually rap. Like, he got bars. You know, I thought it, but it's weaving through so much music nowadays to find all this, the gems, you know, like I've been finding a lot of dope, like R&B that I never heard of. But I feel like the music space is dope, because you can get the music out there, you can put it in a lot of places. Releasing it is easier than ever. You can just go on your little dashboard and upload a single or video or album and put it out, and it's out, you know, next week to the world. All of that stuff is dope, but but there are also some drawbacks of it being oversaturated. Of you go on Apple Music every Friday, and it's just all this new music on there, and it's like, who do I listen to, or how do I try to get in tune with this artist? Or,
I relate to that too. Just trying to keep up with what's hot. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have my favorite type of music that I listen to, but it's always hard to keep track of what's coming next. Plus, when people stop dropping, then it's like, damn, all right, got to find something new. But you're never gonna run out of stuff to listen to.
No, not especially now. And then just the access to being able to go back and, like, you know, sometimes I'm like in the mode where I just go back and listen to all the old music that I like, you know, like whether it's R&B, the old Jodeci or Keith Sweat.
Stuff that's never going to get old.
Yeah, or I wanted to go listen to the Brother Lin Chung, or, you know, just stuff all across the board, man.
Yep. That's what's up, man. I really appreciate that. Because, like, man, when it comes to music now, it's such a different place within the what's the word I'm looking for? The climate of it when it comes to live performances, just because after COVID, it seemed like live shows weren't really, you know, it was a very long process before people got back on stage. So are you currently booking shows right now? Are you touring too?
Yeah, I just got back from some shows with the GZA from Wu-Tang, which I actually needed it because, like you said, with COVID, the amount of performances aren't regular as they used to be. You know what I'm saying? And then there's also like less venues. Yeah. And just figuring out how you gonna fit into the space. So I was what did I do? I went out of town. No, I took my son on a cruise, and my buddy had asked me did I want to do these GZA shows, and I was like, man, I'm gonna come back from this cruise and it's gonna be close, and then it's in, you know, 2 of the dates are in Canada, one was in Seattle, and he was like, well, the promoters are excited to have you on there, and I was like, all right, well, then I'll do it. And but it was something that I needed for my artistry, because sometimes we need that validation of like just feeling that energy, like, and also going somewhere else, like going to Seattle, bro, like going to Seattle and it's packed. And I feel like these 3 shows prove to me my level of professionalism, my ability to control a crowd, that my songs translate. Because the first, you know, with it being GZA, I'm first thinking like I need to do just all my lyrical rap stuff. Yeah. So then the first night, that's what I did. But then the second night when we got to Victoria, I saw that the crowd kind of like, they wanted to party, they wanted to turn up. So I did all of the more hip hop stuff, but then I
turned it up a little
bit. Took it out. Yeah, I took it out with like just slaps. Yeah. And it went over really well, you know. And then in Vancouver, same thing. So, but it was like, sometimes we just need that validation of like, okay, I went out of town, I rocked. Yeah. It was me by myself, me and Danny Mercury. Big shout out to him, because Fat Boy couldn't make it. But those shows meant a lot, because it was like it recharged my battery, and it also like validated like where I am as an artist. You know Absolutely. What I'm saying? Like, so yeah, so you know, I'm back playing and doing shows and really, man, trying to kill it.
Yeah, man. I know what you're saying. When you off stage for a little bit, it's not that you get rusty. It's just that, like, man, you gotta oil the hinges a little bit and just jump up there and make it happen. But I always wanted to ask you, from a live performance standpoint, like, what goes into the format of your live sets and your banter with the crowd? Like, how do you think of that, or is that always on the fly?
It's always on the fly. Like, everything, like, literally, that's one of the things about even with me and Fat Boy is Fat Boy understands me real well on stage, because we've done so many shows. So Fat Boy knows, like, if I know it's, like, he can tell by my energy. If I know a song, if I, like, say we go, like how I said about the GZA shows. Yeah. If I go into those thinking of a certain direction, but then I see we got to take some turns, I turn around to him, hey, bro, let's go with this. Let's go with this song. And then, like, even the banter on stage, it really could be by the crowd, or how I feel about the crowd, or even just how I'm feeling that night. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, because I think that's the part of live shows is the crowd is the biggest piece. Yeah. It's like being it's like being it's like being a DJ. Like, when you up there spinning and you watching the crowd, you're like, okay, this Snoop Dogg song is going over well. But then I played this other song and killed the crowd. Yeah. So now I know what direction I got to go.
You got to be flexible with
it. And then if you don't have hella hit records, it's one thing if you get up there and you bopping upside the head with hit records, then it's going to be
good.
Yeah, it's going to be up. But if you don't, if you an independent artist like me, like I got some songs people know, but do people on a global level or around the world know these songs.
Right, because you got more projects that, you probably doing newer projects that maybe they might have not set with as long.
Exactly. So when you got to work, sometimes you got to work your way to your couple songs that people know.
Yeah.
but you working through the songs that they really don't know, and you hoping that they hitting enough to where you get the crowd going to work your way to your power songs.
Absolutely. The reason why I asked that is because when I first got started, when I was doing my shows, I was rehearsing them to a T. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, this is where I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
And then they're going, I'm going to get this reaction. But there was moments where it's like, yo, okay, we got to switch it up, Johnny.
You get up there and you see that it's not going how you thought it was.
Yeah, or your set is just so long and it's like, maybe the crowd just ain't rocking. You know what I'm saying? You got to adjust and be like, okay, maybe I'm not going to do this song. I know the vibe is slow. And then you're going to turn it back here, So I think that's what the funnest parts about performing is that.
Well, the better part now is also being able to have Serato where you can clip a song, or even when you had the CDJs where you could like or cut it, because with the DAT, like back when you had the DAT tape, like we was traveling with a DAT machine and your song was on essentially like digital cassette and it running straight through. And you could put cue points on there where if you stopped it, then you go to the next cue point, it'll go to the next song. But
transitions wasn't that smooth though.
No, there wasn't. It wasn't. You couldn't backspin it or drop a bomb and like start with a sound pad and then stop it and then or filter it out or whatever. Now with all the access to Serato and stuff, you got way more control power of your set.
Right.
We were traveling like with turntables and turntables, vinyl, and a DAT tape.
Yeah.
Then finally we got CDJs. Then you having to burn your show on a CD and have 2 CDs and know where know the playlist. And then eventually you go to Serato and now you got everything in there. They can control it with a controller.
Yeah.
So you went from traveling with 2-3 crates of records for your DJ,
minimized it down
2
a lot, right?
two big DJ cases and a mixer case, to even with the CDJs you still had to have 2 CDJs and a mixer.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
because you never really wanted to transition down into the small stuff.
I like the turntables; they feel better. That's why at the time, I never did CDJs.
Yeah, but see, when you touring,
yeah, it's different.
The CD, the CDJ, because I understand the aesthetic and the feel if you're a real DJ. But when you touring, bro, you got for one, you got limited space. You got all that stuff you carrying around, packing it up, unpacking it. The CDJs are just way lighter. Throw them up there, and then also the music, like versus having the stuff on vinyl. You got it now on a disc where you got multiple songs on one disc. You know what I'm saying? So it's
more optimal that way.
Yeah, exactly. It's just convenience.
Convenience, yeah. I bet. Plus, you got to probably deal with a lot of other stuff. I don't know how it is. You guys are probably the main headliner a lot of the time, but like as an opener, a lot of times you will be dealing with other equipment that you also have to fit in line
around.
with. Yeah, so.
Man. But that's how it is. Yeah. Sometimes you get on a show where they got a live band or a real stage set, and they put
drum
they got
set.
the back of the stage, and you up. You got your DJ right up there at the front, and you rapping between the monitors, tipping between the monitors and your DJ booth.
For real. But with everything that you've accomplished over the years, man, there's also something recently that another big accomplishment that we've all seen and witnessed, and I think it was well deserved. How does it feel to be inducted into the Oregon Music Hall of Fame, man? Tell us about that.
I feel like that was super dope because I feel like a lot of the times, because of where the music, for one, where we come from and the music I do, I feel like I've accomplished a lot, but I feel like in certain circles, we sometimes get a little swept under the rug or disregarded because we looked at it somewhat more of like street music, street guys,
or it's not as classically trained or something like that.
Yeah, and I feel like those type of acknowledgments go a long way in terms of validating the hard work, the grind, the accomplishments that we've done. Because the thing is, we/I made our mark. Like in terms of Portland or even Oregon or Northwest music history. you can't talk about this city and not reference, you know, what we've done or what I've done. You know what I'm saying? And
it's okay to say it, man.
Yeah, but that's part of the thing is like I feel like for me sometimes I'm humbled to my own detriment because I feel like you let the music and your work speak for itself and not I did this, look at me, you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And so when you gotta say like that, like the Hall of Fame is that stamp that says, no, he did that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to say I did that.
Yeah.
They saying I did that. And that's the validation of saying, no, he made his mark. No, he established something that, you know, bro, I'm 30 years in on this. You feel me? And I'm still making good music.
Yep.
I'm still making progressive moves. And I'm still like, I'm definitely still relevant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the thing is, you also got to understand, even in hip hop, it's still a young man's game. You know, the youth cultivate the word of mouth. They cultivate the waves.
Of course.
You know, but being relevant is also based on, are you making music that's still relevant? Are you understanding how the culture is moving to stay relevant? Are you doing things that don't date you out? You know what I'm saying? Are you showing up dressed corny? Are you whatever?
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, we've proven, you know, I've proven that of my body of work. Of like, if you go and you listen even from the albums from the beginning to now, they didn't get worse. They got better. You feel me? Like the rapping got better, the production got better, the sound and the artistry got better, the show got better. And that Hall of Fame is that's what I want people to see. I want people to be able to say, not just, oh, he's the Portland rap godfather or the king, this and that. I want people to say, like, have you watched what he's done? Have you watched that he's still a craftsman at what he's doing? The craftsmanship is there. The polish is there. When he started, like, the music sounded like this, but now listen now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Every project that you've dropped has developed even more.
Yeah.
And it never got washed. You know what I'm saying? Like every time you drop something else, it was still relevant. It still sounded right.
Yeah. And that's what I want people to know. Like what you know, putting out albums, selling albums and all of that, that's dope. I stand on that. But I want people to know, like, the artistry.
At the end of the day, it's all about that music.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like, nah, this is. He didn't just put out something and everybody, oh, that's dope, and you know, Harsh Game and this. Nah, he put out 20 albums, and them albums, you know, them albums stood up.
Yep.
You know, his work or his body of work stood up to the test of time, and his ability to continue to evolve with the times. You know, when you see me get on stage next to the young hot dudes, I can still get up there and not only I'm gonna do my classic songs, but I'm gonna do some new songs that are also relevant to what's going on in music.
Yep.
And that's what I want Hall of Fame or whatever to acknowledge, that piece of what I do and what I've done, to say he's a real artist, he made real contributions. And that's what that award meant to me, was that piece of them saying, you sit in the circle with these people that have been influential in Oregon music culture. You know what I'm saying?
And that's absolutely factual.
Yeah.
So just one more thing from me, and then I let my boy Johnny close it out.
Okay.
It's just like, how do you stay, like, let's talk about longevity, right? What is the key to longevity for a music artist?
I think still having a certain love and passion and even like a little competitive spirit. And when I say competitive spirit, I don't mean like I'm trying to compete with, you know, who's coming next. Competitive spirit is still being a fan of what's coming next and being inspired by it and letting that help you channel to stay polished. You know what I'm saying? Like, ooh, this is hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I gotta stay on it. Yeah. Or I really, you know, I remember.
So not closing it out and be like, I don't like that new stuff. These youngsters is on, right?
I'm a fan of it, bro.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of it. Like I remember when y'all did the song on Mikey Vegas on the Oregoons. The Oregoons.
Yeah.
And you was on there, right?
Yep.
You Captain.
Yeah, Captain.
It was
Ep was on there.
You, Captain Ep, and Mikey.
Yep.
And it was like
that machine gun flow on there.
Yeah, but when I heard that, it's real deal. But when I heard that, I told Mikey, I said, man, everybody came to eat on there. Yeah. Everybody, you know what I mean?
I agree. That was a movement.
You feel me? But being able to hear that and give everybody their props and say, like, this is hard. Like, I told everybody from Ep to Captain, all of them, like, man, this is, woo.
Yeah, you know, some heat. I remember that was a good ass song.
And so still having that competitive spirit, but to be a fan, to be able to say, that's dope, I like that, and let that also inspire me to stay on my shit. You know, like, I really got to stay on mines, like, where I'm really like, no, these guys are coming, and this is dope, and this is new and fresh, and I need to let this also resonate with me to inspire me to channel, keep on progressing my creative spirits. You know what I'm saying? So that's really the key to my longevity, is like still being a fan and loving the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah.
All right. So before we leave, I want to just ask you, like, what's your advice to somebody that wants to start a business, that's entrepreneur or inspiring to be an entrepreneur? What's your advice for somebody that wants to do that?
Or transition out of music into business?
I feel like finding something that, I think how we talked about La Russell, and because I feel like finding something that you can really dump your energy, your full energy into, get behind, believe in it, but then also learn how things work from a business perspective of like, and also the basics of just like registering your company, getting a tax ID, the basics, man, of like finding something to pour your energy into and really, fully believing in it, and then putting that full energy into developing it. And then also doing the basics like registering your business, getting a tax ID, getting a bank account, understanding like how to really run a business, like having the basics, like having your little desk set up at your house with a printer, your computer, your tools to do business. I feel like those are the things. And then also hanging around people, like-minded individuals, and people that can people that can motivate you.
That's a big one.
Yeah, motivate you to keep climbing, and also give you information on how to succeed. Because a lot of people, they take the wrong things for entrepreneurship. Like some people think like everybody wants to be this I want to work for myself. I want to do this. Exactly. But people don't understand, bro, them cold nights when it's slow, or when things was tight and you had to scrape to get by, you know what I'm saying? Or you was waiting on that next check, like I've been there, you know what I'm saying? I've been there when it's like working for yourself and you really trying to figure it out how to keep it going.
They talk about the W's, but they don't want to talk about them L's, though.
Nah, bro. They don't talk about.
They don't post the L's on Instagram.
Nah, they don't. Nobody posts the L's. Like everybody, they make stuff look all glamorous. They don't. Like everybody that get on there and they giving business advice and they telling you how I won and I made $2.6 million off this. Watch how this person that manufactures these T-shirts for Rihanna. They don't talk about that. No, your last business went belly up. You filed bankruptcy and skipped out on $50,000 in loans. So
get that real too.
And I think nowadays more than ever, utilizing social media, utilizing information in books, and because nowadays, man, there's you have no excuse to not have the answer. You have no excuse to not have the information.
You can ask ChatGPT now.
Come on, bro. You can ask ChatGPT. You can go on Google. Like everything is just right here in front of you.
In your palm of your hands.
Yeah, there's no excuse to not have the information on how to win or how to make your business be successful at all, bro. Yep. So I feel like all of those things are the things you have to do, is acquiring information, setting up your infrastructure, and also, man, paying your taxes too. Because because that goes a long way into establishing certain things that can benefit you, whether it's business loans, whether it's credit cards or lines of credit and stuff like that can actually help you go, getting down the road, even with grants and stuff like that. You know absolutely. What I'm saying? Like, during COVID, I know a lot of people that just by having your business, having your paperwork together, they were able to, to stay afloat and survive off being able to get some grants and being able to get some money shot their way because all these opportunities was out here. But if you didn't have your business together, you couldn't turn in your tax returns from 2019 to 2020. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
You could have been doing business for however many years, but if you ain't got it in paperwork, I think you needed to have it in at least 2 years in, to get a lot of those opportunities.
You need to have 2 years in. Some of them you had to have your business actually registered and was functional and operating right, then. Yeah. Some of them wanted a certificate of existence, where you had to send it in the state of Oregon and they had to fax this certificate back saying that your business is in good standing.
Yep.
And so it's like having all of those things together, they go a long way.
Yeah, and it's way simpler, it's way more easy to actually acquire those things for your business than it seemed like, bro.
Oh yeah, you can go online and register your business for $100. You know what I'm saying?
$100. Yep.
Yeah, and then just different things like if you on the road and you trying to get paid and you don't know how to get a wire transfer or ACH payment or anything
you ain't got
like
no
that.
Business bank account.
Like all of those things. Those basic things help you, but most of all, acquiring the information, being willing to sit and listen, being able to read, and or being willing to go read and pick up some information, or watching stuff on YouTube and
educate yourself.
Educate yourself, because there's a lot of resources out there and a lot of platforms, whether it's Shopify and selling merch, or whether it's even like CD Baby or United Masters or what's the other one, DistroKid, and all these places where you can not only sell your music but solicit it to Spotify
for the playlist
and all of this
and
stuff,
placements on all kind of different opportunities, TV show, all that.
Yeah, so it's one of them things where if you're trying to be a businessman or operate a business, having the basic fundamentals, but then also having the know-how or the wherewithal to be able to sit and listen to people, or even going to seminars and panels and stuff like that. Because you can go sit with somebody that just listening to them would change your life or your perspective or outlook on business.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think the people at home probably just did. You know what I mean?
Man.
Yeah, we really appreciate sitting down with you, bro. And not only just today, but like just over the years. I really, I'm gracious of all the opportunities that you've helped send my way, and big up me as an artist and different things over the years, bro. I just think bro, I just extremely grateful for it, because it did help.
No, definitely, bro.
I mean?
But
it was fun too.
But that's another thing, is that's what we supposed to do, because coming up, truth be told, like even everything from, like I said, about Pole Hop to the Family Hours to the Northwest Breakout Show, I didn't have nobody that was extending those platforms, or that was even that I could even sit down with, chop game, or like when I'm doing something, I go, hey man, can you do this for me, or look out, or help me out. So I understood, like, me being in some of these positions, there's no reason for me to hold on to certain stuff, or if I see you moving and doing stuff, like not extending the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? It's easier to call and say, oh, Lil Bro doing this thing, man, put him on the show. Or was we sitting down at the round table and oh man, who should we put on the show? Man, put Mill on there. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
plus we gonna move them units too.
Yeah, you feel what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's easy. Like, and it's also acknowledging what you doing. Like, it's acknowledging that he got movement. Like, he's gonna bring some people in the building. He's gonna sell some tickets. He's gonna get out and do what's supposed to be done to help this thing work. And if more of us had that understanding, like where we moved in that way, like when you see somebody doing something, reach out to them or give them a hand.
Yeah.
Or if you want to work with somebody, call them and say, hey, can I sit down and go to lunch with you? Or can I take you out to lunch? Versus talking about what somebody didn't do for you when you never even reached out.
That's the realest. That's the realest,
bro.
Man. It's small as little conversations, bro. I just remember sitting down at lunch with Ep and Trox over at Robin. The first time I met them and sat down, we were just vibing, bro.
Yep.
And so many things went to go on for all three of our careers from that moment, bro. But yeah, man, PDX Biz Talk. Cool Ness was in the house, man, dropping gems all day. What you gotta say, Johnny?
No,
You enjoy yourself?
This is a good podcast. I like this one a lot.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a good one. Yeah,
freaking pleasure.
Well, yeah, appreciate
man.
everybody's watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe.
Absolutely,
everything.
man.
Appreciate the support so far.
Yeah, Nutz. You think there's anybody else that you would recommend that we reach out to get on this on the show?
We can also travel to other states.
Yeah, that's true.
I think y'all should definitely, if y'all can get up to Seattle, go tap in with my guy G Prez, and then also tap in with my guy Omari at Converge Media.
Yeah,
yeah. That
I've been seeing those the highlights y'all been posting out there.
He'd be a real good person for you guys to chop it up with, and also just build with him. You guys haven't done Mikey, have you?
Nah,
Travis
no.
Kitchen.
That should definitely be on the list.
That's the next one, yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. And also, because people, sometimes they get overlooked. A lot of the women doing
That's
great.
what we wanted, yeah.
Doing
Definitely
great
wanna
things
get
in the
more
city.
women on there.
Yeah, so any of the dope females and dope women that are making stuff happen too.
Or if you want to be, be involved, just go ahead and email us, PDX Biz Talk at Gmail.
Yeah, we will respond.
We'll respond.
Thanks y'all for watching, man. As we like to say, man, it's the PDX Business Podcast, PDX Biz Talk. Where we have real conversations with real business owners and do real business things. It's your boy Zeke, aka Young Mill. We're gonna catch you on the next one, man.
Peace out.